Are you frustrated with your weight loss progress? Do you feel like no matter what you try, nothing seems to shed that stubborn belly fat? 90% of people are missing the most important puzzle piece to fat loss and are left confused, angry, and worst of all, fat. In this video, I'm going to reveal to you what this common mistake is, how avoiding it will accelerate your weight loss progress, and what you should do instead for long-term success. But first, we need to talk about how a shocking discovery in the 18th century led to a groundbreaking development in nutritional science hundreds of years later. In a dusty room along the Champs-Élysées in France, Antoine Lavoisier sat up late over mounds of parchment. For the past decade, he and his partner Pierre Laplace had been struggling over one of the most fundamental questions of our existence. What is it that sustains human life? You see, as a chemist, Antoine had an innate feeling that the human body, or the body of any living creature, was brought to life by chemical reactions within the body. Even during the Enlightenment period of the time, such a radical proposal faced ridicule and scorn from all of his colleagues, except one. Pierre Laplace was a mathematician and a physicist. He dealt in hard facts and saw answers in his equations and precise experimental measurements. Although they didn't know it at first, the pair's skills perfectly complemented one another. When Antoine confided in Laplace, revealing his intuitions on the origins of life, the mathematician's mind was sent reeling. He knew exactly the experiment required to prove or disprove his partner's theory. Calorimetry. Using a calorimeter, Laplace and Lavoisier proved that living creatures consume oxygen and produce carbon dioxide during respiration. Antoine's hunch was correct. There were complex oxidation reactions occurring in each and every living creature on the planet, including and especially human beings. They called this process metabolism. This discovery lay dormant for years, until the 1930s when nutritional scientists began using it to measure energy expenditure and metabolic rates in humans. Throughout the 20th century, more and more researchers leaned on indirect calorimetry to guide public policy and health recommendations for overweight individuals. Today, it's the gold standard for understanding metabolism, nutrient utilization, and the effects of diet and exercise on the human body. That's an interesting bit of history, but what is the common mistake and what does it have to do with indirect calorimetry? The human metabolism is like an idling car engine. As the engine purrs, gas is used to keep the pistons moving. Turning on the AC, stepping on the gas, and switching gears all change how fast the gas is burned. The size of the engine also plays a crucial role in how much gas is used. Larger engines for trucks and SUVs burn more gas than compact cars like Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas. Our metabolisms are also delicate, finely tuned machines. There are ways to increase our metabolisms in the same way you press on the gas or turn on the AC. Our total energy output can be broken down into three categories: resting, dietary, and activity. Resting metabolism makes up about 65% of our total energy output, dietary about 10%, and our physical activity about 25%. To maximize fat loss, we want to turn up each of these categories as high as possible. The most common mistake most beginners make is not optimizing their diet for a higher metabolism. By far the easiest way to do this is by eating more protein. Now, you've probably heard other influencers tell you to eat more protein 100 times. But how exactly does protein increase our metabolism? In high school, I played baseball with a guy that never seemed to gain any weight. Not only would he never put on any fat, he also seemed to get more muscular every year. He was the strongest player on our team and dwarfed all of us, even as a sophomore. I never had the courage to ask him how he did it at the time, but I came to learn on my own that it had everything to do with his protein consumption. I mentioned earlier that our metabolism is broken down into three categories: resting, dietary, and activity. Higher protein intake optimizes two of these categories. Protein is the most thermogenic food you can eat, meaning it takes more calories to digest protein than any other nutrient. This increases the dietary portion of your metabolism. Protein also helps retain muscle mass, even when you're losing weight. Muscle takes more energy to preserve than fat, meaning the more muscle you have, the more energy you burn to keep it. This process increases your resting metabolism, which accounts for nearly 65% of your total energy output. By simply eating more protein, we can see massive improvements in our body's metabolism. The higher your metabolism, the easier it is to lose fat. That's why my teammate was able to maintain such high strength and muscle mass while eating massive amounts of food. By now, you should be convinced that protein is an essential part of sustainable fat loss. But most of us don't want to choke down bland chicken breasts just to meet our protein intake. So how can you incorporate more protein into your diet? Recently, my wife lost a ton of weight. Like many people, she saw a certain number on the scale and decided enough was enough. The only problem was that she worked long hours and didn't have enough time to go to the gym every day. After a month of zero progress, she was discouraged and ready to give up. I told her all about her metabolism and how to increase it using protein, and the change was shocking. At the time, I didn't believe people could actually lose weight without working out, but she proved me wrong. Not only that, she also showed me that you don't have to eat like a bodybuilder to get more protein. In fact, if you just looked at a surface level, her diet didn't really seem to change much at all. The main change she made was replacing low-protein foods with high-protein alternatives. Instead of eating wheat pasta, we switched to chickpea pasta. Instead of picking up 20% fat beef, we opted for leaner cuts. The only big change she made was drinking a protein smoothie, which looked and tasted more like a milkshake than a health food. Slowly but surely, she replaced almost all of her favorite meals with high-protein imitations. After just a few months of eating this way, she had lost over 30 pounds. You might be wondering, how much protein did she actually eat? In the United States, the National Academies of Sciences, Engineering, and Medicine recommends adults consume about 0.36 grams of protein per pound of body weight. For a person weighing 200 pounds, this would be equal to 72 total grams of protein per day. In my experience and the experience of my clients, this is way too low to optimize metabolism. I always tell people to consume a minimum of 0.75 grams of protein per pound of body weight, ideally closer to 1 gram per pound. For the same 200-pound person, this would mean eating 150 to 200 grams of protein per day. This may sound daunting, but there are many simple ways to increase protein intake without altering your diet drastically. This is one of the main things I teach in my Diet and Nutrition Masterclass at Apex Body Club. Through the course, I teach you how to construct your own personalized diet plan specific to your body and your lifestyle without cutting out your favorite foods. We also host live weekly Q&A calls where you can ask me any questions you have about nutrition, exercise, weight loss, or anything related to your health. Right now, you can get this masterclass completely for free by clicking the link below, and I hope to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, drop us a like, leave a comment, and make sure to subscribe for more content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.